All right, welcome back. Final segment of the SI Sooners podcast, and it is time for our favorite segment of the week. It's our weekly segment with the Groves brothers. We call it the Groves Bros. Tanner and Jacob join the SI Sooners podcast exclusively every Wednesday, thanks to our good friends at Trade Pros. If you need service, maintenance, or you just got heat and air questions of any kind, just call those guys at Trade Pros, 405-639-9991. They are Oklahoma owned and operated. They're proud to serve you right here in the great state of Oklahoma. They're going to take care of you. So give them a call. Man, Tanner, Jacob, big night in the LNC last night. Let's just start right there. 89-72, first round win in the NIT over Missouri State. The place wasn't packed, but it was kind of electric. I know there's a lot of disappointment. Probably there was a couple of days ago over the last 48 hours going into last night about not making the tournament. But what did you guys think of the way you all bounced back as a team last night, given that you had basically one practice?
Yeah, I mean, I thought we did a great job. It's always a question of, are we gonna want to come out and compete after we felt like we kind of been snubbed a little bit. But I thought we did a really good job. We kind of came out a little slow, but credit to Missouri State because they're a good team and they got a pro on their team. The game was really back and forth. We were just kind of trading buckets, and then in the second half, I thought that we really stepped up and we really defended like we've been doing the last 5 games, and that's kind of when we were able to break the game open a bit. And so, yeah, that's just kind of credit to the guys and credit especially to the staff as well, because I know that it's been short notice, but I know that they've spent hours getting us ready for this game. Missouri State's a team who played against Coach in the Missouri Valley for years, and so Coach was super familiar with their guys. I even think that the coach of Missouri State played for Coach. I think out of Illinois State maybe.
Yeah.
And so Coach was really familiar with those guys. He got us all ready to go, and regardless of us not being in the NCAA tournament, we were ready to go and kind of got that taste of winning again. And I think we're ready to go, and we're looking forward to the next one already.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, just like Tanner said, we were definitely very well prepared for him. I mean, that's a team that Coach has played against for, the past however many years he was in the Missouri Valley. And so he knew them really well, and especially their coaching staff and what they were going to probably run offensively, defensively, you know what I mean? So he kind of had a game plan ready to go. And then just on our end too, we kind of did our part and just kind of bought in, we had a great day of prep, I guess you could say, after obviously a disappointing Sunday. But it was good. I mean, I think it's important for us to, kind of be disappointed about that loss, but then just kind of have that fuel the fire going into this NIT tournament. And, and that was a big part of the win last night. I mean, like you said, I think we scored almost 90 points, 89 points. And so it's going to be fun to watch us play, just especially offensively too, because we're used to playing all year against these Big 12 defenses that are like, top 10, top 15 defenses in the country. And now we're playing, different teams who don't defend as well as some of the teams in the Big 10 or in the Big 12. And so it was cool to see us put up so many points and our offense kind of flourished last night.
Yeah, and we last time we guys talked to you, it was before the Big 12 tournament. So if you'll allow us, we'll work our way back here. We talked to Porter about Sunday night, and he kind of talked about it important to give you guys that space to kind of. He said to grieve. We talked to Moshe Gibson and Jordan Goldwire last night after the game, and Mo said that when he saw Jordan Goldwire post on Instagram immediately after you guys had been snubbed, that really hit him. What was that process like for just you two individually of like, how long did it take to take that disappointment and turn that into flipping the switch of, well, screw that. Now let's go out there, win the whole thing and show why we should have been in the NCAA tournament, that kind of thing.
Yeah. I think so as a team, it kind of sucked as a team. We went to the locker room and kind of as our whole team and coaching staff, we watched Selection Sunday. It's really highly expecting our names to be called, and then it was just kind of devastating. We didn't see our names called, and you could look around the locker room and hear a pin drop. I mean, it was just dead silence, and guys are just, really mad, really disappointed, and so is coach. I mean, coach broke us down, told us, whatever, and then, at the end of the day, we all just left, and there was no word said. I mean, it was just kind of clear how disappointed we all were. And then, I got home, me and Jake got home, and then we were just like pretty quiet, and then it just turned to being mad. We were just like, how did these guys get in over us? We were working through like all the different bubble teams, like talking about net ratings, talking about, strength of schedule, this and that, quad one wins. And we were like, there's no way like, I think out of all the bubble teams that didn't get in, us and Texas A&M easily deserve to get in over some other teams. But, that's gone. We can't really talk about that now. It's still going to be something I'll think about probably for the rest of my life, thinking back about how we got snubbed. But, I like how we're able to use this time now as just like motivation, moving forward, and really really hurt for our seniors, but luckily for me and Jake, we get another year of going to battle, and I think this is only going to be motivation for us, moving forward in the NIT, and especially moving forward next year, going into some of those smaller games we play at the start of the year. Like if you look back at the Utah State game or the Butler game at home, it's like these games you got to win, and now we know that if we're ever in that type of position in the year, we know that this is a must win, and we can kind of let those guys know that, and kind of use that to push us forward. So it's a good learning lesson. It's not the worst thing, but we'll use it moving forward, and we're looking forward to hopefully making it to MSG and cutting down the nets in there.
Yeah, I mean, MSG would be ideal. We're definitely excited for that, but just I think Tanner kind of said it. It's just overall disappointment from everyone. But it kind of is what it is. It's we've been battling back, and I think that getting this first win under our belt in the NIT is something that's like, you get the feeling of surviving and advancing, and so that's kind of been kind of a theme with the guys, to where now, instead of kind of obviously mourning or grieving not getting into the tournament, it's like, now we're surviving and advancing, and we have a chance to actually go win a postseason tournament that is, a pretty good tournament as well. And so that's cool. But obviously disappointing. I mean, I think that I just feel bad for some of our seniors, some of the guys who came here and with goals of obviously getting into the NCAA tournament and playing in March Madness. And so it sucks for a lot of those guys, knowing that it's their last year of college basketball, and they're not going to be able to play in that tournament. And so, you kind of feel bad for those guys. I mean, it sucks for everyone else, but us having, a couple more years to be able to do this and make the tournament is good. And so we obviously have some high hopes for the future and for next year, especially. And we're kind of just dealing with the circumstances that we have, and we're just battling and hopefully going to make some noise in the NIT, which will be good.
Absolutely. So like Ryan said, we haven't talked to you guys since before the Big 12 tournament. So I wanted to backtrack to Kansas City a little bit. Obviously, first time in that tournament for both of you guys. Just kind of walk through the week. What was it like in Kansas City? What did you, impressions of the tournament the first time? You got that great Baylor win to start the thing. Jake had the big game in that one. Just the week that was in Kansas City. What was it like playing in that tournament for the first time?
It was kind of funny because right when we had a shoot around in the Kansas City gym, obviously the day before the game, and it was like 40 minutes, and right when you touch the balls, the clock starts, and so we were kind of obviously on a roll, but Tanner and I look at each other and we were like, this looks exactly like the Big Sky tournament did in Boise, like this arena, obviously a much larger version of it, but it was kind of cool to see that, just how the arena was like laid out, and all the press boxes and everything up above. And so it kind of reminded us of Boise, which was cool to see. But yeah, that was just it was a fun week for sure. I mean, it was a very busy week. We didn't have much time to go see or do anything. I mean, I know that there was some really cool activities going around the T-Mobile Center that we were playing in, but We didn't really get time to go see anything or do anything, but we had a pretty good little support cast there with our family and some friends, and so that was cool. They sent a lot of videos and pictures of just everything going on outside. Sounds like there were basketball courts going on outside the T-Mobile Center and big beer gardens and big screens to watch the games on, and so it was a really cool environment, I think. And then just as far as being a part of the tournament itself, it was pretty unbelievable, especially after that Baylor game too. It was one of those things where we were all just so hyped up, and your adrenaline was just running all throughout the night, and so you kind of don't get much sleep on nights like that. But I got to go to bed because we got to wake up tomorrow and do the same thing over again. And so it's an incredibly busy week. It's very hectic just because there's so many moving parts as to who you're scouting and 1 day turnarounds and stuff like that. And so I guess the good thing is that you're playing teams that you've already played twice this year, and so that made things easy on us a little bit. But yeah, I think that no doubt that those 2 games just kind of showed our team that we're just we're kind of playing our best basketball of the year, and that we're capable of hanging with anybody, beating anybody, and we're just hoping to see that takes us far in this tournament that we're playing in.
Yeah, I thought Kansas City was a lot of fun. It kind of brought me right back to just that tournament feel. You can always kind of tell there's just always a different feel when you're playing postseason basketball compared to when you're playing regular season basketball. And right when we got off that plane in Kansas City and got to the hotel, it was just that different feel that this is postseason. This is why we're here. This is what we're doing. We're trying to win, and that was just kind of cool. It kind of sparked our competitive edge, and we were ready to go. We were looking forward to it, but no, it was cool. Just being in that arena, it was pretty incredible. There was fans from every team there cheering us on, especially against Baylor. It was kind of funny. We had a whole crew of my family and friends in the stands, and they were just telling us during the Baylor game, Kansas fans and Iowa State fans were
definitely
grouping with the Oklahoma fans and cheering us on against Baylor, and so that was kind of funny. But no, it was just a really cool environment, just being a part of that, because all I've experienced is playing in the Big Sky Conference tournament in Boise, which, like Jake said, it was just it was a lot smaller scale and not as many people there, and so it was just really cool, and it just gave me that March Madness kind of feel when we were playing in that arena against some of the best teams in the nation. It was just incredible, and I loved the atmosphere, the environment, the energy. It was just really cool, and so I think that kind of helped our guys out. I think especially just going into that Baylor game first, we were locked in, and we knew that we were playing our best basketball and that something special could happen because we were just so locked in, so ready to go with the scout for Baylor and just everything. And so obviously got that win, and then even against Texas Tech, I thought we were really locked in too, and unfortunately ball just didn't roll our way, but I thought it was a lot of fun, playing down there in Kansas City in front of all the fans.
I'll take you back to the Lloyd Noble Center last night. The thing I noticed about Missouri State is that they're not a Big 12 basketball team. And I mean no disrespect to Missouri State at all whatsoever. I was very impressed by their ability to score, their athleticism. But it struck me that Oklahoma's not playing a Big 12 team, and it shows. And Jake, you made mention of it earlier that they're not on that level defensively. They don't get after you defensively necessarily. And again, I'll be honest with you guys. I leaned over to Ryan midway through the first half, and I said, Ryan, this smells like an upset. I might have to call an upset right here. That Missouri State, I think they had a 5-point lead at the time and had not missed a shot basically since the opening tip. And I'm like, boy, these guys are good. So, again, all due respect to Missouri State, but what was that like last night, moving the basketball when you're not facing a Baylor or a Kansas or a Texas Tech or a Texas or a K-State or on and on, right?
Yeah, well, I think Jake hit on it earlier when he said he was talking about, how it's just a lot different playing against a team that's not like, one of the best defenses in the country. And so that was just a lot different. I think that, it kind of helped us out a little bit. Just, our offense was feeling a lot more smooth. It was a lot more free flowing. And, like you said, no disrespect to Missouri State, but just, the scoring just felt a lot easier than it's felt in the previous month or two. And so that was kind of nice for us. I think that, yeah, I mean, we're the only Big 12 team in this tournament, I think. And so, um, you never know what could happen. We could be, scoring 80 a game, which which you guys haven't seen all season. Most of our games have been in the 60s. And so, it could be fun that, we aren't playing against these Big 12 teams. We're obviously going to be playing against some incredible talent. And I think if the wins happen for both teams, we could end up facing Virginia, who's known as having a good defensive team. And, that game could easily end up in the 30s for all I know. but no, I think, yeah, it was definitely fun. And Missouri State even zoned us, which we've had trouble with in the past. Obviously Butler zoned us in that home game earlier in the season, and I think we went scoreless for like 8 minutes or so, and so it was kind of good to feel that zone out again, get a crack at the zone again, and be able to use our offenses that we've learned through the course of the season, just to like see how much better we've gotten throughout the year, and so that was just kind of fun too.
Yeah, I think for me it was like it almost felt like in the first half we were just kind of trading buckets with them. It was, I mean, they had a really good player in Mosley, who was obviously, like Tanner said, a pro prospect, and he was giving buckets to us and hitting some really tough shots. And so we knew that he was going to come in and try and do that. And so we were going to live with the tough shots he was making. But I think he had 22 at halftime. And so he was really making some shots, kind of keeping him in it. But it just felt like we were kind of trading buckets with them. They couldn't get a stop on us, and we couldn't really get a stop on them. And so, the second half, obviously, we came out and finally, figured out a way to kind of guard him or deny the ball and kind of guard the rest of their guys as well. And so that's kind of where you saw us pull away a little bit and get up, 15, even close to 20, at one point. And so that was cool to see, just, making those kind of halftime adjustments, especially against a good Missouri State team, like you said, who was a top, I think they were top 3 or top 4 in the Valley, which is, obviously a good mid-major conference where so that's a good team who's beaten some really good teams on the year as well. And so it was good for us to kind of see, see someone new besides a Big 12 opponent, kind of get our offense rolling against a team that doesn't quite defend as well. And then kind of taking the challenge on to guard some of their guys, because they have some really good talents as well. And so that was cool to see on our part.
Well, hey, and the underrated part about the last 3 games too is Postgame has been normal. We actually got to hang out and see you guys. Tanner, sorry I missed you, but Jake and I had that moment in Kansas City after the Baylor game where I almost forgot my question. So I was like, wait, hold on. We talk to you guys every week. Now you're up there. Well, what's going on?
Oh yeah, post game is a different animal nowadays. I mean, it was pretty crazy walking into that room in Kansas City with 50 reporters sitting in front of you. It was like, oh gosh, you know what I mean? It's a little bit nerve wracking. I'm used to sitting in front of a computer and seeing everyone's face on Zoom, and so it's pretty low risk. I'm just kind of chilling and giving answers out, but all of a sudden there's a bunch of faces in front of you and they're asking you questions on the spot. And it's like, oh boy, here we go. And so it was good though. I mean, it was good to see everyone in person. That was actually the first time I've ever been a part of like an interview like that, where, everybody's in person. Even at Eastern too, we kind of had a very low scale version of that, where it was 2 or 3 reporters asking questions. And so to see that after the game was pretty cool.
Well, yeah, you guys got robbed of being the tournament darlings as well, where that usually last year for you guys would have been a huge post game, but that didn't happen. What I was going to ask though is, Jake, you touched on this earlier, but West Coast guys, right, coming from Washington, what does it mean though for you guys to have a chance to finish this year at Madison Square Garden? Like, I don't want to get too ahead of you guys, but I mean, Porter talks about it. It's the Mecca. Have you guys talked to Jordan Goldwire at all? I know that Duke fancies the Garden as kind of Cameron Indoor North, so he has some experience there as well. But how big of a motivating factor is that you could go play a couple of games in the Garden?
I think that's, a big part of it. That's honestly the first thing that Coach touched on when obviously these NIT talks started. He said that the semifinals and the final game is in the Mecca of basketball arenas in the world. And so it's like he said, you go talk to Jordan, to Kobe, to LeBron, and they'll say that their favorite spot to play is Madison Square Garden. And so it's one of those things that's, hopefully a really cool opportunity for us if we can, tough out a couple more home wins and get the opportunity to play there. But obviously disappointed we didn't make the NCAA tournament, but I think that all the guys are on board now that cutting down nets in Madison Square Garden and ending this season on a win would be pretty unbelievable. And so, yeah, I honestly, I've never been to New York. I've always wanted to go, and so I'm hoping we can make that happen just for a little bit of travel sake and go experience a new city. And I've heard there's some pretty awesome things there, and so I'm excited to hopefully get the opportunity to go there and play some hoops in the Big Apple.
Yeah, I've only been to New York one time, and it was in 2018 when the Eastern Eagles played Syracuse, and we scored 12 points at halftime. And so that was my only experience playing in New York. So I'd like a little redemption too. Nothing better than going to the Madison Square Garden, like you guys said, the Mecca of basketball, and being able to cut down the nets in there against a good team. And so I think that's going to be cool if we can make that happen. Like Jake said, just got to tough out a couple more home wins. But no, I mean, regardless of being snubbed or whatever, this and that, I think that Madison Square Garden is still a cool way to end the season, especially with the chance to go out on a win too. And so I think the guys are kind of looking forward to that. I think this last win helped motivate our guys a little bit and say, hey, let's do this thing. We only got a few more. We got, maybe 2 more weeks left of basketball. Why not do it? So it's really cool. Just the end goal of cutting down the nets, winning the championship in the Garden is a pretty cool motivator. And so I think that we're locked in. We're ready to go.
I'm curious just because, we've talked to you guys before. You guys are both really big just fans of college basketball. Obviously, just because you play a sport doesn't always mean you're like a fan of it. You guys are. You guys watch a lot of games outside of just, getting ready for your next opponent or whatever. With the way that the season ended, and you guys were so close to the tournament, and metrically, your resume stacks up. Probably should have been in the tournament. Your KenPom is like the highest for a non-tournament team in a while. How much March Madness are you guys going to watch the next few days? Is it like too painful? Will you still watch games? How is that going to go?
I'll tell you that. Oh, Jake,
yeah, it's funny because we're definitely going to be watching some hoops the next couple of weeks. That's one of the things. It's it's hard not to watch. I mean, it's the best time of the year. We just love college basketball. As far as filling out a bracket, definitely won't get to that this year. But we'll definitely be watching college hoops all March. And definitely, come the 1st of April or whenever the national championship is on that Monday. And so, yeah, we're definitely going to be watching quite a bit of hoops. And obviously we got some teams we think are going to make it pretty far and some upsets that we've kind of been scheming. And so, we talk a lot of hoops with our team and our guys. And so we love that stuff, but yeah, probably not filling out a bracket this year.
Yeah. You guys are talking to a guy that's got his phone taken in class from him probably 100 times in high school during March Madness, watching games in the middle of class. And so I can tell you that there's a 200% chance I'll be watching these games. For any college sports fan, college basketball fan, I think it's the best time of the year. Even sports in general, it might be the best time of the year. Like, I'm a little biased because I like basketball. Basketball is my favorite sport, and I think that March Madness is better than the Super Bowl. I love basketball, and so March Madness is easily my favorite time of the year. I just remember being a little kid watching, my teams play and, waking up early on, even for the Saturday
It
games,
starts
having
early
a
out
day
there.
off
Yeah.
and, being a kid and not having to go to school, just watching games all day with my parents. And, oh man, it was just brings back great memories. And so, yeah, March Madness is just an incredible time of the year. I love it. And yes, I'm excited to, regardless of being in it or not in it, even last year when we were at Eastern, after we lost, we were, the next day we were sitting in our apartment watching all these games. And so we're looking forward to, watching some more hoops.
I was going to ask real quick.
Tanner, give me your phone. I can see it right now, man. I can see it right now. Come on,
Yes.
Teach. Leave me alone.
Luckily, I'm in all online classes, so I don't have to worry about being in class.
Boom.
Heck yeah.
Real quick, last year, statute of limitations is up. You mentioned filling out brackets. How far do you guys have Eastern going in your bracket? How does that work when you're kind of one of the ultimate Cinderellas?
Oh gosh.
Oh man, we had us winning at least one.
Yeah, it's funny because you have all of our family that fills out brackets too. Is like, I'm banking on you guys to get a win, so it's like, and you're like,
That's great.
okay, well,
Yeah, we had so many people just like, man, I had you guys winning it, winning at least one game, like getting the upset. So that's funny. Even I'm actually kind of good buddies with one of the guys on Barstool, the Rico Bosco. I'm kind of good buddies with him from Barstool Sports, and he has a hilarious video of him and Dave Portnoy and like a big group of Barstool guys watching the Eastern versus Kansas game, and I think we were up by 11 or so, or we were down by 11 or so at the very end of the game, and I can't remember. I think the under whatever
like
it's called. I think the line was like
it was like 9.5.
maybe 10.5 or 9.5 or something, and so we were down by 11, and our guy goes in to score with like 10 seconds left and scores it, and all those guys in the room just start freaking out, getting excited and stuff because we made them a bunch of money.
Covered.
So I'll always remember seeing that video after the game. That was hilarious.
Good teams win, great teams cover. So there you go.
That's right.
That's awesome. What a great memory. Now, how far do you think Bill Self had Kansas going in that bracket is my question. I mean, seriously, come on.
From last year's team?
Yeah, from last year. Yeah, exactly. After playing you guys especially, he's probably tearing up his bracket.
It was so funny because he even mentioned this in some of the interviews like leading up to the game, is that he said that we're not as much worried about Eastern Washington. We're not really looking at them. We're kind of focusing on ourselves, figuring some things out. And so we were like, if they're not going to scout us, then we may as well give them a run for their money. And so, that's what we did.
Absolutely.
That's cool. Great memories. Listen, Tanner, Jacob, the postseason, man, it's underway, and it's we're here. We're covering every game. You know what? We can't wait to follow you guys. I'll tell you this, Ryan and I are looking forward to a trip to New York City. It's my favorite place on the planet. I think it's Ryan's favorite place on the planet, so we're probably going to double team that. So no pressure, fellas. No pressure. But seriously, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch you guys over these next few weeks as the season concludes.
Yep, no doubt. Awesome. We're excited.
Hopefully we'll see you guys in New York.
Well, hopefully we'll see you in Norman. That's the first
right.
goal. Is I want to be back in Norman. You guys can both come into the post game.
That's right.
Y'all might not believe this, but we have never met face to face. None of the Groves Bros. Those guys met those guys in Kansas City, I guess. But in terms of just shaking hands and saying what's up, we still have yet to do that. Everything's been virtual. So looking forward to the real thing soon.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
No doubt.
Hey, thanks again to Trade Pros for sponsoring the Groves Bros on the SI Sooners podcast. Give those guys a call, 405-639-9991 for all your heating and air needs, or just go to tradeprosokc.com and be back here next Wednesday as Tanner and Jacob join us for another exclusive segment of the Groves Bros. As always, you can listen to that one and all episodes of the SI Sooners podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Google, iHeart, or wherever you get your podcasts. Or if you've got an Amazon-enabled device, just say, Alexa, please play the SI Sooners podcast. She'll hook you up. Go to our website, allsooners.com. Click on the player right there on the homepage and listen on your phone, your tablet, or computer. We do simulcast the video version over on my YouTube channel, so check that out, John Hoover Media. And as always, please comment, like, rate, share, and subscribe. It helps us out a lot. So For Josh Calloway, Ryan Chapman, and of course the Gross Bros, Tanner and Jacob, I am John Hoover. See you guys.